Okay, so I'm gonna replace this old hot water tank. And I hate to actually see this happen because I actually installed this over 20 years ago in 2000, and it's still actually working and functioning just fine. But I'm flipping the house, I'm selling it, and I know the new home buyer is gonna want a new hot water tank. So unfortunately I gotta replace it. Plus I did a lot of shoddy work, a lot of really bad solder joints that I'm not really proud of. So I'm gonna replace this. I'm gonna give you a couple tips on how to go about this. And really things have gotten much easier since the first time that I actually installed this. So let's get into it. So I'm definitely not proud of it, but you can see how bad my solder joints are. They look really terrible. But again, this has lasted like 20 years and has had no issues at all. I don't like the way my flue is. That's kind of ugly. But you can see the hot water tank is still in fairly good condition, which is pretty impressive. But one thing I wanted to mention is that I'm going to end up replacing all of this copper. I notice I have some old valves everywhere, and there's some corrosion on a lot of my different fittings, and there's just one shut-off valve after another that looks really bad. So when you get into this level of a bathroom remodel, it's not a bad idea just to go ahead and replace all of this copper, especially if you have exposed plumbing like this. So looking here, I'm just going to replace it down below where my meter is. So from the meter down, I'll be replacing all of this with PEX. So consider doing that when you're doing a bathroom remodel. Check out your plumbing, and you know, it'll make it, it's ultimately going to be an easier challenge just to or easier to just replace all of the copper, especially when you're going to get into putting a new hot water tank in. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is shut off the gas. Hopefully you have a shut off right where your hot water tank is. If you don't, you're going to have to shut it off at the main gas meter. So I'll show you that in case you don't have a shut off for your hot water tank. But this is basically parallel with the line. All you got to do is twist the shut off valve, the ball valve, to where it's perpendicular with the pipe, and that should shut off the gas. But it's also, you know, so there's usually a union that connects to allow you to disconnect anything hard pipe to an existing hot water tank. So hopefully you have one of these as well. If not, again, you're going to have to shut off the meter from the main gas line to be able to disconnect it from your main part of your furnace. So let's go ahead and remove this. So this union will allow me to disconnect it from the hot water tank. And we'll have to take everything off of this old hot water tank. Okay, so hold on to these parts because you can reinstall them on the new hot water tank. So the next thing is I'm going to shut off the water and drain the tank. So this is my main meter here. I'm just going to shut off the water at the meter because my plan is I have a little ball valve here, but I want to replace this as well and put all new PEX coming up. But you know, so hopefully your valve at your meter will shut off okay. If not, you know, that's going to be a bigger problem. You might have to turn it off at the street. Okay, so if you don't have a shut off at your hot water tank, what you want to do is turn it off at the gas meter. So find your gas meter, and then there's another ball valve here that goes in line with the line. All you have to do is turn this off so that the line or the ball valve is perpendicular, and that'll shut you off at the gas meter. So you can see this is perpendicular with the line, and these holes also line up as well. So that makes sure that your meter is, or your gas is turned off. Okay, so next step, let's go ahead and drain the hot water tank. There's normally a little valve here that you can allow the water to drain out. So let's go ahead and get a hose on that. Okay, so we'll let that drain. Let's go ahead and cut our pipes off here, because since we're going to be replacing all this, I don't really care where I even remove this at. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to go ahead and cut my copper over this way, because we're going to be replacing that bathroom. But I don't want to disconnect it because people are still using the bathroom in here. So for temporarily purposes, I'm going to just cut it right here and then just attach PEX from this point. Okay, so we're going to temporarily put this on. We're going to first cut it off nicer than just a grinder. Just use our little deep burring tool. So you put marks on the pipe so that when you slide on your Sharkbite fittings, make sure it sits all the way to where it needs to be. All right, so that's temporary there now. Okay, so I'll recommend installing your hard pipe gas line if you can do it, because everything else is kind of flexible. You can pretty much maneuver everything else where you need it to get, but the gas line, since I don't want to have to buy a new attachment to this, I just want to use my old stuff, again, just to save some money. So what you want to do is get some pipe dope. So this is 4 gas lines, and we're just going to refit this 1/2 inch pipe into our new hot water tank. But if you do the gas line first, that's kind of what is dictating where the unit actually has to sit, and then you can go ahead and do everything else afterwards. Let's see if I have another brass nipple. So if I got a 4-inch nipple, I would probably extend this down because I'm about 1 inch off. This sits a little bit lower. We could also block up the hot water tank, which might not be a bad idea. Put something underneath there to shim it up. Maybe I'll do that because I think that'll make sense so that this isn't exactly just sitting on the ground. So let me get something 1 inch that can fit underneath of there. Okay, so I got some bricks. Basically just sawed them down in half to give me that inch. So we'll set this. Make sure this sits level. Should work out well. Okay, biggest thing here is just to make sure that it's pitching up. That's kind of obvious, but I've definitely seen a lot of hot water tanks where there's kind of dipping down, airflow, hot air rises, and we'll go ahead and patch around here to make a nice seal. But just make sure this fits well down around here. Now we'll also tape this and put some screws in it, and then we can move on to connecting the actual plumbing. Okay, so what we're gonna do to fill in the holes around here is just use a little bit of quick, dry what do you call it? Quickcrete. Some Quickcrete. So this is a fast setting so that I can be able to smooth everything out and make it look good. You don't need much. I just got a 10-pound bag, and I'm just gonna mix a little bit of this. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and prep our cold side. So one of the things that have really kind of changed over the last 20 years, I would say, and it's probably always was a good idea, but to put a expansion tank on the cold side of your supply, these are really important for overpressuring and keep preventing your hot water tank from having too much pressure when the water expands and then having water coming out of your pressure release valve. So I really do kind of feel these things are a little bit more sensitive than they used to be. So it's almost imperative to put one of these on. You want to put this on the cold supply. Basically the concept is that the hot water tank, you know, once it heats up the water in it expands, and you need that pressure to go somewhere. So that's what these tanks do. You just need a 2-gallon one, and you want to put it on the cold supply. So the easiest way that I've found to do that is just to use a brass 3/4 inch T, bring it over about 4 inches, and then you just attach it this way. So let's go ahead and put these. First, we want to put some Teflon tape on our ports coming out of the hot water tank. So always apply your tape. Actually, let me just get a piece of this off of here. Always apply your tape clockwise, so when you're threading on your fitting, it goes with the threads. You don't want to thread it the opposite direction. So clockwise on your threads. And then we're going to use a little bit of pipe sealant as well. And this is going to really ensure a good seal. So you can see here I have pipe dope and the threads. Okay, so we're going to be putting a T on here. Basically, we're going to have a shut-off valve that we want to put on here. So we'll get our PEX. Okay, so the type of crimps I like to use are the Pro crimps. So what's great about these is that they already have a little plastic cap that sets this right on the right depth. So if you took this cap off, you basically have the right amount of reveal around your piping. So it's just something that makes it a little bit quicker. All you have to do is press it on and you're ready to go. So it's kind of nice in that fashion. And you want to use your no-go-go gauge and make sure that it fits. just do the same thing on our hot side, only we're just going to be connecting it right to it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and turn the gas back on. Okay, so when you want to turn it back on, you just have to put this parallel with the line, and you got your gas back on. Okay, so for turning back on the gas, well, first off, you want to spray something soapy, just some soapy water on your joints, just to test to see if you have any leaks. So if you see a whole bunch of bubbles coming out of here, then you got a gas leak. You could probably almost likely smell it as well, but just spray something soapy on there. Just pay attention to it, make sure it's not leaking. All right, and then as far as getting gas back on here, I want to just take a little bit of this gas out so that I don't have to wait forever to turn it back on, because I turned it off at the main meter. So let's just go ahead and crack this a little bit. Okay. And then when you do that, you want to make sure that you put more pipe dope on here. Okay, so you can smell. You should definitely be able to smell the gas. Now, this is just going to speed up the process of lighting this. Okay. Again, spray a little bit of soapiness on here. See if anything's bubbling up. Okay, so as far as relighting, you want to make sure it says pilot light on here. That's what you want to turn this on to, and then you also turn this little valve here to pilot, and you press down on this. Okay, and then there's a little viewing window in here that you should be able to see the gas, or you'll be able to see it lit. So you can see through here. So you're gonna have to hold this pilot light down for a while, since we just had to bleed the line. And then you just press this little button here. It's a green button, and that should ignite it. So you can see that little pilot light. Just hold down on this for a while. Let that stay lit. So that was on pilot light. Okay, and then you just turn this on after the pilot light is lit. Make sure it still stays on. And there you can see the gas lighting up. off here. You can see this is all nice and sealed around here. It's all airtight. Should be in good shape. Okay, so make sure you pay attention, make sure there isn't any leaks. Make sure you turn on the water to your faucet. Make sure you are getting hot water after you lit things. But ultimately, yeah, that's really simple to put in a hot water tank these days. So if you're thinking about doing a bathroom remodel, try to do some other home improvement projects. Definitely gonna get those mechanical abilities improved before you take on something like a bathroom remodel. And hey, check out my courses down below on bathroom remodeling. I step you through the entire process of a bathroom remodel. But I hope this has helped you out, and I'll see you in the next video.